Hello guys, and welcome to the second project. We are now going to be making our HTML table project since we now know how to style elements. I didn't tackle this in the HTML because styling tables in the HTML is deprecated and is rarely used now. So we will use CSS instead. That doesn't mean the code won't work, but it's better to use CSS. Okay, let's start with our project now. First, let me make a folder to tidy up. So let's name this HTML table, and let's make another one to put the form that we did earlier. So sending this to the forms. Okay, and now in our Visual Studio Code we have to create a new file for the HTML and CSS we are going to be using for the table. So closing this up, file, new file, then save as. So we'll be naming this index.html by choosing the table folder and then saving it. And then let's make another one for the CSS. So save as. Let's name it style.css. Basic name. And save. Okay. Now that we have everything, let's generate our HTML file. So type HTML and hit tab. And let's give it a title, page title of table. Clean this script linking tag. And then name our style sheet to style.css since we didn't give it main.css as a name. Okay. Now save this and open it up in the browser and see if everything is working correctly. Okay, we have a table title name, everything is working fine. Okay, let's get back to the code. So the HTML table we are going to make looks something like this. So we have our rows and columns. So minimizing this, let's first write our table tag, and inside this table tag let's create our rows. So 1 2 3 4 5, we have 5 columns. So our first row, we have 5 columns, which is table data. So td 5. Now you have a countries, job, row, day, and year. Okay, so saving this and refresh, everything appears. Okay, now on to the next step. What I'm gonna do next is I'll be creating 7 more rows for it to have more data. So another table row tag, copy and pasting this about 7 times. Okay, now our data, we have 5 data, and since this is the table head, let's change this TD to TH. Okay, next, with the data, first we have the countries. So let me start by writing my favorite countries. You can input whatever you like. Copying and pasting this and just changing the figures. Okay, now saving this and seeing how it looks like. Good. We have our countries lined up. So next we have the job. So the table data for the job is let's use web developer. And then the row will be develops website. A day will be Friday. And the final data, the year. Let's make it 2019. And save this and see how it looks like. Okay. Now, in order not to waste too much time, let me just copy this and repeat so that we have the same info throughout. Now that we are done, let's save this and see if everything is working correctly. Okay, everything is working correctly. Now let's get ready to style this. So in the style tag, targeting the body, let's reset the default browser stylings. So the margin is going to be 0 and the padding is also going to be 0. This resets the normal styles the browser gives it. So this resets everything. Mozilla Firefox has different style, Chrome has different style, so does any other browser. So resetting is a good, very good practice. Okay, back to our code. First, let me separate this so that it gives more semantic meaning. So this is going to be our table head. So let's wrap the whole table row in a table head tag. And then indent this so that our code will look cleaner. Okay. This is going to be the body. So T body. And choose the last but one. And paste it right here. And finally we have our T foot, which signifies the table footer. So copy this and hit the tab so that you can invent it nicely. Okay, saving this, let's move back into our style sheet. So now what we'll target next is the table data and the table header. So let's target both elements. So TD and TH. And to see if this works correctly, let's just give this a background color of green. So background is green. Save this and refresh, and you can see it gives it the green background. Okay, so let's clean this up. And now let's give our table a border of 1 pixel solid black. So what the border does, it gives our table nice border so that our table will look neat like a real table. So next, you make the text bold and then a padding of 20 pixels to make our table boxes a little bit bigger. And finally, let's have a font size of around 18 pixels. Saving this and refreshing it, our table looks a bit bigger and much nicer. Okay, now the next thing we are going to do is let's target the table header box and give it a color. So the T head and the TH tag. T head, TH. And we'll give it a background color of, we use RGB values this time. So RGB into bracket and input the code 136 separated by comma 169 and then 241. This gives it a light bluish color. And let's make the color of the text white. So save this and see we have our blue background color just like the image. Okay, next let's make our table rows a little bit gray. It looks too white. So targeting the table row, a background of and let's choose a color from here. So somewhere around this, save this and refresh. Okay, I think this looks okay. And then I think our text is too big, so let's make this a 15 pixels and save this. Yeah, this looks okay. Now finally, let's center our table. So targeting the whole table tag, let's give it a margin of 0 and auto. This centers everything. Saving this and refresh, and there you have it. Okay, the text looks too normal, so let's add a font family, and I'm going to use Lato. So second font, so that whenever the browser doesn't have Lato, it defaults to it. So let's use sans serif. Okay, saving this and refreshing it. Our table looks a little much nicer now. So that's it for this project. Let's move on to the next one. Still on position and layout, you will be looking at floats. With the introduction of Flexbox and CSS Grid, float seems to be fading out. I think one of the reasons is it being a little bit complicated, even for experts. So I won't really waste my time on it, but for you to get a gist of what it is, float simply is the property mostly used with images and also forcing elements to the right or left of the page. Its main values are left, right, and none. Let us look at an example with an image. Back in the text editor, let us clean this up from our previous example. So let's have 2 paragraph text. So P, hit the tab and generate lorem text. Copy and paste this. And within this paragraph text, let's put up an image. So if you remember, img tag and then hit tab. We still have our controller image with the name of game.png. So I'll use that, and then an alt text of controller. So save this and see if everything is working normally. Okay, everything is working normally, but it appears to be too big. So let me target the img class, since it's the only image we have on the page. A width of 400 pixels and an height of also 400 pixels. And let me add a little bit of styling with the border radius so that its edges will be round, almost like a circle. So border radius of 50%. And save this and see how it looks like. Perfect. So now let's give it a float property of left. Save this, and the text, you can see, move to the right of the floated image. So let me add an extra paragraph. So copy and paste this as much as possible, and saving and refreshing it. You can see it's all appearing at the right of the image. Its opposite appears when you float it to the right. Okay, cool. Like I said earlier, I won't be going much more into it, but you can read up on it on W3 School's website. Let's move on to the next tutorial.